Anglicans culminating their year-long celebration of the 150th anniversary at the diocese with a concelebrated Mass at Christ Church Cathedral, George Street this afternoon. In 1861, Nassau, formerly called Charlestown, became a city with the parish of Christ Church becoming a cathedral. The development of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands is closely intertwined with the Anglican diocese. Our Shanique Miller is live at Rawson Square with the details of the two anniversaries, which culminated recently with a procession from the cathedral to Rawson Square. Shanique, good evening.
Good evening to you, and of course I'm here in Rawson Square where thousands of excited Bahamians, excited and happy, jubilant Bahamians were just here to usher in officially the 150th anniversary and celebrate of the City of Nassau. We had prayers and songs and of course Royal Bahamas Police Force and Defense Force bands just giving beautiful music here, all testament of where we have come over the last 150 years. Now just before that, before the march on here to Parliament, there was a church service at Christ Church Cathedral. And of course, delivering the sermon was the Archbishop of the West Indies, John Holder. He talked about the history of the Anglican diocese and the Caribbean, and he told Anglicans, of course, to be mindful of what their primary mission is. Take a listen.
Our ministry, even like that of our Lord, must address the present social issues of our time, and we must affirm the presence of God. In the best Anglican tradition, we should avoid getting trapped in any false and unrealistic God-world, heaven-hell divisions. Instead, we preach the wholeness of God's creation, and we respond to those areas, to those conditions, and to those persons that seem to deny this wholeness. We do not confuse wrong with right, or might with right. We do not sacrifice the ways of God for the ways of expediency. We stand up for justice and righteousness and peace.
Addressing the parishioners at Christ Church Cathedral was Bishop Leish Boyd, Bishop of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands, and he focused on the history between the two countries. Take a listen at what he had to say.
Our church has been present and involved in all of the islands which make up this diocese. 25 islands and more, 21 in the Bahamas and 4 in the Turks and Caicos Islands. More than 90 congregations, more than 70 clergy, 4 schools and numerous specialty ministries. This church is alive, it is powerful, and it is influential. Archbishop Holder said in his remarks at a reception at Government House this week that if you were to remove the Anglican influence and contribution, past and present, from the Caribbean, this entire region would be drastically the poorer, nowhere as far ahead as it is now. In fact, we would probably be 100 years behind. Need I say more?
Back here live on Rawson Square, of course, you see a number of people still about talking and chatting. Just a happy atmosphere here. If you look around the square, Clint, you would see pictures mounted up of various scenes of historic Nassau. Certainly, of course, the history of the Anglican Diocese of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands and the various persons who held the post of bishop of that church. But responsible for all that's here in the square this evening and for the last couple of days is Linda Stubbs. Linda, talk about what went into designing this and having, even, for example, Clint, if you look on the far end of Parliament Square, governors general who would have held that post in our country's history. So talk about what went into designing the format and the layout here.
Well, Shanique, this was birthed since independence. This is something I wanted to do for a very long time, for at least 3 years or so, to showcase our country's leaders. Because believe it or not, Shanique, there are so many Bahamians that have no clue who the 8 governors generals were. And from that came the opportunity to expound on this celebration, the 150th anniversary of the City of Nassau, and of course of the Anglican Church. My son and I, Owen Stubbs from Fusion Graphics, is responsible for all of these portraits. He did the research, he did the graphical work, bringing them back and restoring them to where they are. And, you know, Shanique, it's just a fantastic display.
It definitely is, and I'll ask you just one quick question. And what does 150 years as a City of Nassau mean to you?
Shanique, I'm so proud because I'm not an Anglican, but I can tell you this much, Shanique, that, you know, with the opportunity to learn more about our city and also of the Anglican Diocese was a great privilege.
Certainly for me too, and thank you so much for talking to us, and job well done here. But of course, Clint, this will remain here for a couple of days, certainly throughout tomorrow, so I invite certainly our viewers just to come out and sort of have a look through our history, a wonderful, rich history it is. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Shanique. Definitely a day of history here in the city of Nassau. Shanique Miller reporting to you live from the City Center.